Shalom, today is April 21st and we're in day 563 of the war in Israel. What does Yediot Aharonot newspaper bring to us today? By the way, he is risen. So with all of this bad news, the good news is that he is risen and he's coming back again. Let's move on to the newspaper. בחזרה לרצועת הביטחון בעזה. Back to the security strip in Gaza. What is the security strip? We'll read about it inside. More, לתפארת מדינת ישראל. This is the phrase that they say for the honor and glory of Israel, of the state of Israel, and the independence ceremony that will be held soon on Independence Day. Yes, they're speaking about who will be honored to light the torches in this very formal and festive ceremony. 77 years to Israel. Before we start, I'll point out the cartoon of the day, Milchemet HaTkuma. Milchemet is the war of, Tkuma is resurrection or rebirth. So this is the war of rebirth because they're relating it to resurrection of Israel since October 7th. Not to be confused with Easter or Resurrection Sunday. In Israel, we don't celebrate that. The Israeli population does not celebrate that. Even the Messianic Jews, being so Israeli, we kind of forget to celebrate Resurrection Sunday, such a big day. But the war is called Milchemet HaTkuma, Resurrection War, and this is Bibi calling and pulling on this tired reserve soldier. Look at his face, he's exhausted. Within his hand is the call up for the 5th round of reserve duty, and he's yelling, Kum! Kum is the root word of Tkuma. Can you hear Kum in Tkuma? Now Kum means get up. So that is what all the resurrection and rebirth war is about. It's to get up the reserve soldiers again for their duty in this war. So this is, of course, criticism over the government, over the war, over Bibi, and the poor resolved soldiers that are fighting non-stop. Next to the main article, Israel במלחמה, Israel is at war. המציאות החדשה ברצועת הביטחון. The new reality in the security strip. This means above Minharot Hamas, above the Hamas tunnels, and in posts that are exposed to rockets of all sorts and all kinds from the terrorists. השגרה המסוכנת של חיילי צה"ל בגבול עזה. The dangerous routine of the IDF soldiers on the Gaza border. So this article is about that security strip, and this is following the death that happened on Saturday of Ghalib Nasasra, that was in the security strip saving some other soldiers that were wounded by an anti-tank missile that hit their vehicle that was not protected. Why was it not protected? You know, those protected vehicles. So he went to save them 28 minutes after the injury, and then he got shot with an RPG and he died, and there are many severely injured in this incident. So this article is following that incident. They're saying that was a hard event of losing Ghalib Nasasra. By the way, he was a Bedouin. That's a minority in Israel. They don't have to serve in Israel, in the IDF, but he chose to. He was the only son in his family, and still he chose to volunteer his service, his time and his life for the security of Israel. So they said he was a great guy, very, very professional, loved people. Well, he was killed 2 days ago, and he says his death shows how complex the reality is in this security strip in Gaza that the IDF created on the Gaza side of the Gaza Strip. So there are about 15 new posts, new IDF posts, all along this security strip. That their job, those posts are there to defend and to block any other attack that may come from Gaza towards Israel. So there'll be the security line before any terrorist will reach the actual citizens on the Israeli land. But the forces are exposed, and they're saying they are right above terror tunnels and the tunnel shafts. So we thought we got rid of so many tunnels But in the other article, a few newspapers ago, we read that only 25% of those tunnels were exposed and dealt with. There's still 75% more. So many tunnels are still being used by Hamas for terror. I'm continuing. Hasakana kfula, the danger is double. One, the soldiers are exposed, and the threats are very many, a variety of threats from Hamas in that strip. And the second danger is that the Haganah, the defense over the Israeli small towns on the Israeli side, is not the best. Still, it's not, it's just not completely secure still. Another subheadline is Hamas is using the collapse of the ceasefire naturally. So while many terrorists are embedded amongst the civilians in Gaza, throughout the whole cities, they're coming out every once in a while with guerrilla fighting and fighting face to face with the IDF soldiers that are in the security strip so close to these cities. This incident where Ghalib Nasasra was killed, there were many other incidents like this, but just without deaths on the IDF side. The IDF was able to block these attacks before they happened, to kill the terrorists before they attacked. But this time, it just went wrong, and many injured, Ghalib Nasasra dead. Speaking about the wounded, one of the severely wounded is a soldier. She's a major called Major Nourit, a company commander, and she was wounded already on October 7th, protecting her base Urim. She went back to the field a week later against the medical personnel advice to rest. She says, no, I had to. We need to protect Israel. Well, in this incident 2 days ago, she was severely injured again. Let's pray for the full recovery of these injured soldiers. By the way, Nourit is engaged, and her fiancé is also serving in reserve duty. Remember the incident where the IDF on the 23rd of March killed 15 Palestinians, and some of them were paramedics? Others were found out to be active in Hamas. But the IDF is admitting for mistakes, professional ones. It was shown that it was not ethical, but it was professional mistakes, and going against protocol in the shooting commands, and says it was hard to identify Yeri benigud hapkudot, shooting against protocol, and even one of the people involved was lying in the investigation. So the IDF decided to let go of one of the commanders, the senior commanders of the Golani Brigade, because of this incident. The IDF is admitting their mistake, where the Palestinian paramedics were killed and ambulances were shot at. In this image, we see Palestinian Gaza people standing around the dead bodies of the paramedics. And in the background, we see the ambulances that were not identified and were shot on. Ein gvul ha'ke'ev, there's no boundary to the pain. It's a little play on words here, because gvul is also where these hostage families are standing on the gvul of the border between Israel and Gaza, and they're yelling to their loved ones in Gaza that are so close but so far. They're yelling that we know you're alive, and we're alive too, and we will fight for you. And says the families of the hostages, some of them, chose to stand there and voice their cry, because the deal of releasing the hostage does not look anywhere close, does not look that it's happening. And 59 hostages are still being held in captivity in Hamas, in Gaza. Vicky Cohen, the mother of the hostage Nimrod Cohen, she yelled to her son over to Gaza, they were so close to the border, don't lose hope. Al te'abed tikva, nachzir otcha habayta. We will bring you back home. Ilana Grichevsky, she's the girlfriend of Matan Tsangaukil, still in Gaza. She says, I'm alive and I will not give up. I will not give up on you. So you hear the pain, and they're so close, yet so far. Let's end with economics. Mechir chidush hamilchama. the price of renewing the war since the collapse of the ceasefire, and we're expected to expand the war again in Gaza. 10 billion shekels the IDF is asking to add to their budget after the whole security budget here is standing on 120 billion shekels. In the finance ministry and the government, they were shocked from this request, from this demand, and they're warning this kind of cost will hurt, pgi'a kasha, will severely hurt the citizens of Israel. Our taxes are already high. So where else to take it from? They're saying one solution will be to take it from the budget of the government itself, rather than adding taxes to the civilians. So yes, this war is very expensive, and as this war is continuing, the budget is enlarging, and the IDF is not just pretending it needs money, it really does need a budget. We will end with this, and we will hope for the best, but we are glad that Jesus is risen and he is coming back, and our hope is in his return, and we all can ask for his return and want him to come back and bring peace. Thank you for standing with us and standing with Israel with your prayers and support. For more news that matters, you can go to allisrael.com. If you like this video, please like it and share it with your friends and family. I'm Rotem Magen for All Israel News.